Hey everyone.
Hello, friends.
Thanks for listening to our show. Before we get started, it's important for you to know a few things. The opinions we express belong to us, and they're just that, opinions.
Also, this is one of those shows where we cover a lot of mature content. This could include sexual content, explicit terms, rude humor, and so on.
If that sort of material might offend you, then this is not the show for you. This is also not a program for children.
Again, thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show.
I can't say interwebs.
Is he not supposed to say interwebs?
I mean, he can say it. Just
I'm here to like express myself and this is
that
like,
was you expressing yourself.
This
I'm
is
sorry.
a creative outlet for me. And
Did
I
I
really,
not make this a safe space?
I really feel like you're shutting me down a whole lot here.
I'm sorry. I'm here to hear you.
You are listening to Mistrial by Fire, presented by Uncommon Threads. I'm Eric.
And I'm Kyoko. You should probably know that Eric and I are married.
For over 15 wonderful years.
That's right.
And even after all this time, we still don't agree on everything. Sometimes one of us changes our mind, and probably more than often, we end up agreeing to disagree.
And that, my friends, is where we came up with the concept for Mistrial by Fire. We plan on discussing content that we either source from social media or material that is sent directly to us by our listeners.
Each story will contain an individual that might be considered a guilty party. This guilt can range from criminal behavior to simply being an asshole.
We will have guests on the show that will also share their opinions and ask questions. Those guests will be asked to ultimately provide a verdict. In the end, there can only be 4 possible outcomes.
For guilty or not guilty, our guest jurors must both agree. When they disagree and refuse to change their opinions, that will result in a hung jury. On the rarest of occasions, when this whole thing goes to hell in a handbasket, like someone quits or gets kicked out, we may declare a mistrial.
Also, at the end of the show, we'll let you know how you can write us with your own material, or maybe during an annoying mid-show commercial. But for now, let's jump into it.
We are here with Lawrence and Christina, and you guys are engaged.
We are.
Yes.
Man, that's exciting. This is not.
Lawrence sounds really excited.
Yeah, I know. It's like he's at court already. He's like, I can confirm that. Yes.
Yeah.
Affirmative, yes.
All right. Well, I want to know a little bit about you guys. So we can start with Christina. What do you do with your life?
I'm a peace officer for the state. I
Nice.
won't say which department.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been there for about 3 years, and it's interesting, you know?
That kind of changes things.
Lawrence didn't tell you what
Lori.
I do?
Speaking of Lawrence, we got the other half of the engaged couple here. Lawrence, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and get close to the microphone?
Get on up there.
No, I'm Lawrence. It's a pretty day outside. The Niners are winning.
All right.
Yes, Christina is pretty amazing, and my dog is 12.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I think
Got a
that
dog,
literally
an
that
amazing fiance, and the Niners
answers
are winning.
every
Yeah.
question
All
that I
right.
had. Yeah, that's everything.
Well,
Good.
awesome. Thanks for being on the show.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. You just want to jump into this? Am I guilty of betraying my husband by keeping my OnlyFans account a secret?
Ooh, yay. I wish you guys could see the faces
What?
of Lawrence and Christina.
Oh
I
man.
hear the rattle of the kids.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I, a 29-year-old female, have been happily married to my husband, 31, male, for 6 years. We have 2 children that are under 4 years old. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and he works at an executive-type job with regular business hours. Financially, we are comfortable, but like most people, we have to be fiscally responsible. I manage our joint bank account, make sure all the bills are paid, and keep us on a strict budget. We have a savings account, and we take family vacations twice a year. This year, we spent a week in Disney World and another week in the Gulf of Mexico.
Fancy.
Sounds good so
Sounds
far.
nice.
I love being a stay-at-home mom. It was part of our family plan, and I always make sure that our children come first. My husband is very supportive, and we intend to keep me at home until both of our kids are off to college. Over the years, I've dabbled in money-making opportunities, and again, my husband has always been supportive with my endeavors. I have resold clothes, made a very active eBay store, and I even started a vacation travel agent business, all from home. I enjoyed them all at some level, but most of them became too demanding, and in all honesty, not much profit was made from any of them. And even though my husband has always been encouraging, recently he has mentioned that perhaps I should focus a little more on our home and kids. He said that I seem extra stressed with all the deadlines of my side business. All right.
Because I just want to make sure I'm digesting this.
Okay.
She feels extra strained from the side business. that you introduced, correct?
Yeah, I think what she's saying is her husband has expressed that she seems stressed from the side businesses. So I don't know.
The travel
businesses.
agency,
Yeah.
the clothes selling, and the
And
eBay.
the eBay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. But I don't
It can be taxing. I did some selling of stuff online.
I don't know if she agrees with that, but she recognizes that that's how he feels.
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha.
Moving on. What he doesn't know is that about 2 years ago, I started an OnlyFans page on a dare from one of my girlfriends.
2 years ago.
2 years.
It's been a while.
For 2 years?
It's been a while.
Man.
She told me that people will pay to see just about anything. Just to shut her up, I posted some content of my feet while I was dancing in the kitchen. Pretty soon, people were signing up and messaging me, asking for specific behavior. To make a long story short, at this time, the majority of my content is me smashing things with my feet. Some of my most popular material contains me mashing potatoes and smashing fruit with my feet. I never show anything above the knees. I have no tattoos or noticeable marks. I don't speak, and I make sure the only thing in the background is a sheet that I change for different seasons or themes.
Oh, it's seasonal.
Yo, wait a minute. Whoa.
There's more. There's more. My husband has always known about my side endeavors, and I have always put any of the profits back into our joint account. Since I never thought this OnlyFans dare would amount to anything, I didn't mention this one. As money started coming in at first, I paid some of our small bills and revolving debt. Since my husband doesn't really pay attention to our finances, he never notices. The issue now is that a lot of money is coming in. I don't want to give out any specific numbers, but I could pay off our house and probably have enough left over to buy a new vehicle. What? I keep the money in a separate bank account and I pay taxes on it, but he has no access to the account and he has no idea it exists. It seems like so much time has gone by since this all started, and I can't believe I'm basically hosting a foot fetish site. Am I guilty of betraying my husband by keeping my OnlyFans account a secret?
Dang.
Wow.
That's loaded, man. That's like a loaded potato.
Yeah, I don't know.
But on an
I don't know.
unrelated note, you're going to have to excuse me. I did forget about my pedicure appointment. Just kidding.
Like, what?
Wow.
Just kidding.
All right. I'm going to have to do a financial audit. How do I access our bank accounts?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how any of that works.
Oh, no.
So that's crazy that that's whatever it is making enough money to.
Pay off
Yeah.
the
That's what I was
But
thinking.
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
how
she-
much money is she making and how is she
First off, what
justifying
state
this
is
to her
that?
husband?
Because if it's Mississippi,
Right, that's a true story. It's like
this-
$69,000.
This person is from California.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
Am I guilty of betraying my husband by keeping my OnlyFans account a secret? What do
take
you-
it away, ladies.
Right. So it's interesting because she is putting the money back into the family. Nobody knows it's her. And I don't know. She does need to tell him. I think if she continues to not tell him.
Is to like if like
Well, I wonder like
That's
why
always
when's the
why
deadline?
now? Yeah, like why is she wondering this now? Like
the impression I'm getting is she has a lot of money in a bank account
Yeah.
right now, and with that she's feeling, it's one thing if they're paying down like the $1,500 credit card, or she's
Right.
augmenting a little bit of a vacation fund or something. But if she's got it
She
sounds
said
like
she
a few hundred
Pay off
grand
a house
in
Yeah,
the
and
bank
buy a
account.
car?
So am I hearing you correctly that if there were to be an OnlyFans account in our family, and as long as it was only enough to pay off small credit cards, and it's not betrayal?
Hey, let me. I'm not ready to weigh in, but let me make something really clear, really quick. If I found out that you had, let's say, $350,000 in a bank account because you're mashing potatoes with your feet, my only question would be: do you want me to hold the light? Do you want me to, what can I do?
I like that. I like
Do
that.
you need better
He's your
lighting?
hype man. He's your hype man. I like that.
What would
It's
you?
like,
Can
no.
Can I work on your website? What can I
Can I direct
possibly?
your toes? Like, yeah, move your toes that way. Yeah.
Yeah, like after I got through the "how dare you not share this information with me," I'd be like, "Can I quit?"
Right?
Can I-
Yeah. Can I be stay-home daddy?
Yeah, I will do
Swap
the
roles.
best job I can at home. It probably won't go well, but I'm
I will
going to
try.
give it
Like,
my
I
all.
will let your feet support this man.
Yeah,
That is great.
Yes, I will rub those feet. I will make sure we take fantastic photographs of those feet. So this whole thing, it gets a little murky because, there's like this selling yourself part of it online, which feels pretty intimate. And I get the impression from the author that it's not sexual on her end, but I mean, let's be honest. If people are paying to see that, there's weirdos out there that are probably it's sexual on their end of things. And that feels, it feels a little bit like betrayal, I think.
Really?
A little.
I think it's one of these things where she wasn't intending to be sneaky, and it was just kind of like something that got out of hand a little easily. But I think if she is now open and goes, hey, like, just got crazy, and I just want to tell you that this is what was going on. And
2 years into it.
I know it's weird.
2 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars into it.
Lawrence, what do you got?
Yeah, I just feel that it has a potential. Well, one, I feel like it's past the sale date.
Yeah.
2 years is too long.
How do you work that into a
it's too long.
conversation now?
And not only that, shame on the dude, honestly, for not being involved one iota in the finances of his own family or anything like that. Doesn't check receipts or anything like that.
Oh, damn. That was like shots fired.
Yep, shots
Hey
fired.
man, hey man, let me tell you, there are some very happy marriages out there where one person handles everything financially.
And she
related.
has an OnlyFans. So like there's clearly something going on. I just think that if you didn't want to share that initially with your husband, then something that deep down, either subconsciously or in the deep recesses of your brain or conscious, that it's an inherently questionable.
Yeah.
And that it could be offensive and that it could be taken the wrong way, and that's why you don't bring it up. And then it just spiraled out of control. Now, something interesting that you guys brought up was also, she claims that it's not sexual in nature. Okay, that's great. A lot of people, especially females within specific industries, well, it's just modeling shots. It's just innocent modeling shots. All of a sudden, they're at the AVN Awards in Vegas. So, I mean, it's just, it could be
explain to our listeners what the AVN Awards is.
I don't
I
understand.
heard from other people in this world.
I don't know
You
what
need to
AVN
explain the
means.
acronym.
I just want to be I want to say to my wife, what is AVN?
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, I just feel that it's a marriage. There's so many different interpretations, this day and age, about so many different things.
Yeah.
About what a person's role is in a company, on a team, in a relationship, in a marriage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
True.
Everything is broken down almost to the fiber of everything's existence to this day and age. That's because we got nothing else to do. Okay. But the thing is, I feel that keeping a secret and not inherently bringing it up to your partner, whether it's your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, your significant other, it's because you probably know that it's questionable and not something that's so great. She sounds like a very smart woman. Maybe that there's another way that she could have applied herself into making funds. Also, sometimes it could be a little crazy to see people always going the OnlyFans route rather than building themselves up from something to be something else. I feel like it's like a cheap
it's that quick money
fallback. Yeah,
it's
Easy
that
money.
quick money.
It's that scheme way. Well,
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying,
I could go
though,
flip a couple ounces.
So let me ask you, if I told you could make an extra 10 grand a month smashing stuff with your feet, are you in?
Am I in?
Well, no. But here's the
selling
thing.
your
So,
Are you in?
so
And then you could do something righteous with that money if you want to.
Christina
Right,
has an
today
opinion.
it's fruit.
full
Tomorrow,
disclosure, I actually asked Lawrence if
Oh,
I could
dang.
do this a few months ago.
Oh,
I'm like,
see?
Wait.
I'm like,
She was
hey,
being
babe.
facetious,
Whoa.
though, right?
Do what
Well,
though?
because I heard stories from friends. They're like, oh yeah,
Feet finder?
people they just want my dirty socks, and they
Yeah.
they'll buy my dirty socks for $50, and I'm like, well, I can't post like videos of my feet. I'm like, babe, can I just post pictures of my feet and
And
stuff?
sell those dirty socks?
Well, but the thing is, I asked him
And
Looks like
because
it was
I
a no.
wanted to.
it looks like
It
looks
was
like
a hard
no.
no. It was a hard no.
Not even it was a hard
I
no.
have to keep my day
hell
job.
no.
Sadly, I must keep my day job.
What
But-
if it's like? What if it was a vending machine strategically
So
placed
they
in a
never
mall somewhere?
knew that they were her socks.
That sounds like a glory hole. Like, what are we talking about?
Well,
Strategically, just go in there. It's a changing room.
I have.
What's that?
What's a glory hole?
So it's a hole in a body of water.
Okay.
Which funnels more water into it.
Oh,
Interesting.
okay. Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
That's
That's
what
what I
it is.
figured you were talking about.
Yeah, like Lake Berryessa has
Yeah.
a glory hole.
So
Take a look. It's in a book.
Reading Rainbow.
So that's also an interesting perspective, right? Because I like kind of what you touched on, which was if this seemed above board to begin with, she probably would have brought it up during the like thinking process, right?
Right. Sure.
Sort of like Christina mentioned, right? The thought crossed your mind. So the thing to do if you're in a relationship that's, open and trusting is you bring those thoughts and, and a discussion happens. It could end up any way. What she didn't do was she didn't mention it, and there had to be a thought attached to that. It's presumptuous to assume what that was, whether she was being, clandestine about it, or maybe she was ashamed, or, maybe she thought that he would say no, or maybe she really just believed, I'm just going to do this to shut my friend up. It's going to go nowhere and it's not going to be worth mentioning. Either way, it takes off.
Yeah.
And now, you're a month in, you're 3 months in, you're 6 months in, you're a year in, you're 18 months in. Now you're 2 years in. It kind of sounds like not telling somebody you're moving a massive amount of narcotics.
Exactly.
Until you become like the kingpin, right?
She's
You're
like
the head of the cartel.
She's the foot Walter White. But with feet and not movement.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So now we're at this point where we're talking like, oh, I could pay off our house and buy a car and I
I'm
got
like,
all this
oh,
money.
Also,
Man,
why
how
not
much
share
money?
that with your husband?
Right.
I mean,
Right,
the poor guy's
exactly.
out there,
Well, I
God knows
think-
what, busting his hump. Why not share that information with him?
My assumption is she's going to have to.
Well,
She's,
it's something
gonna
she's
have to.
planning
Yeah.
so
to.
she's planning to do it. How does it go if Christina comes to you and says, I'm 2 years in, and you guys didn't have that talk, right? You guys didn't have that talk. I'm 2 years in. I've been smashing potatoes and fruit with my feet, and
Gallagher of OnlyFans.
and we got $400,000 in the bank. And I'm sorry I didn't say anything, but what do we do now?
First thing that I would ask is, it's nothing that I've eaten.
Right. You didn't put that back
Like,
in
those
the
are just mashed potatoes we brought to my mom's house.
I
Right?
love mashed
You're
potatoes.
like, yeah, literally.
I literally stuck my.
I was wondering
Is that
why
why
you
the bed smells like chives? Like, what's going on?
I was wondering why you started making so much wine. That's so weird.
It's like I Love Lucy, right?
Yeah.
Her and her
Yeah.
friend
Right.
just squishing
That's
Right.
good.
grapes,
Between my
right?
toes.
Yeah.
So, I didn't mention that Lawrence is 75 years old. So that's a good I Love Lucy reference.
Yeah.
But there is
So
a
no, I want Lawrence to answer.
Oh, you're
I
gonna
want
make Lawrence
answer. So you're the guy, right? And Christina came
Sure.
to you 2 years into it, $400,000 in the bank. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't say anything.
I would just say that's interesting. That you wouldn't think. Well, one, I would say, hey, it's just you're squishing stuff with your feet
Yes.
because it has such a negative connotation.
Right.
OnlyFans. You
No,
think
I'm
of
definitely,
people,
I'm definitely I'm going to be
just
Christina right now.
going out
We're
there
gonna
and
have
having
this.
themselves out.
We're gonna have this talk. I'm gonna be Christina, and I'm gonna say, yeah, yes, Lawrence. I'm just smashing stuff with my feet. It's
So
pretty
why
much,
would you keep that from me though? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
because
are we in this together?
OnlyFans kind of has this negative connotation. I didn't really take it seriously, and then before you know it, 2 years goes by, and
Was it that one friend that told you to do it?
it was.
I told you to stay away from
It
it.
was.
Oh, we all know who that one friend is. We know.
Yes, yes. It
Every
was
girl's got that one friend.
I've
Yes.
got like 3.
Oh, God, no.
It was Nikki. It
I
was
have
Nikki.
bags under my eyes.
So what do you do? Do you feel like you were betrayed?
I would just honestly, just to be real, I would say I feel like this is something that you should bring up. Especially if you're married, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if your boyfriend and girlfriend, you guys are still doing your own thing,
Yeah.
you're, still independent.
No, these people are married.
Yeah. So if they're married and they have like a bunch of kids,
They've had 3 kids.
they've
or
had
2
3
kids.
kids.
I can't-
Yeah.
Some kids.
Yeah, they've had some
So-
kids together.
I would just say, you got to bring me into the fold with stuff. You've got
That's
to
it,
talk
though?
to me. You got to talk
Is
to
she
me
going to
about
keep that
everything.
OnlyFans going? I mean, we're making 15
I
grand a
can't-
Yeah,
month
we
off
paying,
it.
I hear you.
we paying the bills with my feet money? What are we doing?
My thing is, I can't speak for the character of every man, right?
Yeah,
I
I'm
can
just
only
asking
speak,
for
I can
you.
only speak for my character.
I'm just saying, what are you doing?
I would just say, it's time to cash out.
Yeah.
Cash out.
Yeah.
cuz.
Cash out.
It was good while it lasted.
Like, okay,
It was good while it lasted.
that's fine.
Those
That's-
feet
I'm good
belong
with
to
that.
me.
Those are my feet.
Ain't nobody gonna creep on your feet. That's my brown gravy.
Now, Christina, he has told you, hey, all right, we're going to work it out, but cut it off. No more extra $15,000 a month. Where are you at with that?
Well, hopefully I haven't quit my day job.
Well, right, yeah.
No, I think in this scenario, you're a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah,
Stay-at-home mom.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think in this scenario, you're a stay-at-home mom.
And you know what? I have to be okay with that, because he's my husband and
Okay.
something obviously bothers him, and
Yeah.
it would be disrespectful of me to not say no.
Man, I love that.
I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
I'm just
You
going
guys
to do
are
it.
Like, I hear what you're saying,
I
but
love
I'm going
it.
to keep doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I would be disrespectful because if she were on the other foot, it was me. I'm saying, hey, babe,
That's
this
No
makes
pun
me-
intended.
Foot
right?
pun. Yeah. Foot pun.
No pun intended.
They
The
just work itself
podiatrist
out.
is just having a great time with this whole thing.
Because I know if it
I'm
was
not
me,
trying to step on any toes here. But
Right. Oh
here's my
God.
opinion.
Wah, wah.
You're right. Yeah. But you're saying if it was you.
If it was
I
me
got two.
and I was telling him it was something that made me uncomfortable, and be like, hey, babe, I want you to stop.
Yeah.
You'd expect that.
I would expect it, and I would be very upset if he said, "No, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing."
Right.
Like,
You
it
know,
don't
that's
matter.
that's really good. So what about if the roles were reversed and you found out he's at a 2-year OnlyFans with smashing stuff with his feet?
Like, I don't know how many people want to see man feet, but
He's got $400,000 in the bank.
you know what? I'd be like, babe, let's get the fancy lighting.
Yeah.
Let's get the ring lights.
You're taking
let's
Eric's.
get
See,
your
we're-
jelly
we're
pedicures.
tracking.
I'm like,
We're
let's
tracking.
get those feet nice and smooth
Yeah.
and gorgeous.
I'm like, we're gonna make hologram prints.
Heck
We're
yeah.
gonna
Get
make
those
t-shirts.
insured.
Right?
We're gonna do merch.
Right.
We're
Gonna
gonna
make
get
some
bumper
commercials.
stickers.
Some commercials.
But where does the line end, though? So, like, it ends with just with the
Your
feet.
knees.
Now,
It ends. It ends.
but
The
what
line
if it
was
was more?
Probably ankles.
What if it was more, though?
It's not though.
But what
it's-
if it was?
Then it'd be
but-
bad.
It changes the whole dynamic.
What do you
Well,
mean?
it
If it
does,
was
but
like
that's complete-
OnlyFans of 2 years of you doing weird stuff, I mean,
It's already
Well,
weird. I mean, it's.
I
Is it
mean,
weird?
I would say you have to
It
have
is.
boundaries. You
I
know?
smash stuff with my feet all the time. Nobody
Yeah.
I'd be
pays
like,
me
who's
nothing.
watching the kids if you're just
If
making
we're-
casseroles with your feet?
So, all right. So I'm glad you brought that up. I did think it was kind of interesting because 2 years into it, and she talks about backgrounds and seasonal stuff. So she's clearly doing this in a way where her husband is not going to find out.
Right.
Like
Like
she's
he's
not.
at work when she's
Yeah,
doing this.
yeah, and she's like
Nap
putting all this
time.
stuff together.
and it's nap time for the kids.
Yeah.
That almost
Mommy's
makes it
gotta
feel
work.
like even more weird.
It does, right?
Yeah, because it
More of
seems
an
like she's
affair.
sneaking around.
There's no
and,
Monica
you know.
Lewinsky here. It's just
Yeah.
potatoes.
It's
and
just-
Yeah,
tomatoes.
right. That's what I'm saying. It's,
Green
it's just
beans.
it's just mashing things with your feet. It's not
Yeah.
like she's being, unfaithful. So why wouldn't you want to tell your husband? I mean, I'd
Yeah.
kind of be excited. Well, I mean, I would talk to him about it first. I wouldn't go behind his back and do
Yeah.
it. But I would say, hey, babe, I can make all this money with just my feet. What do
Right.
you think?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I would be so angry and I would forgive her so quickly.
Right?
It would be an emotional roller
Right.
coaster.
But the thing of
and
it
then I'd
is-
be like, let's promote it.
But it would be weird though, because money's power, and it's just like she keeps this away from you for 2 years,
Yeah.
and has amassed a fortune, and has kept you in the dark about it. You just don't know where this ends. Like honestly,
Yeah.
you would look at your partner, whether it's your husband or whether it's your wife, in a kind of a different light. Just
Like,
like,
what else
damn,
are you
like,
not
He's
telling
Exactly.
over
me?
here
What else
being
are you
like
not
Mr.
telling me?
Burns over
Yeah.
here, just like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do?
That's a
And
Simpsons
it's-
reference.
Oh my goodness.
People that are listening.
I don't even know if we can say Simpsons without having to cut it out. But the other thing, and I'm assuming this is not the case because she's wondering if betrayal is on the table. But it really, like you were talking about earlier, different relationships have different contracts. So maybe with their particular relationship and contract, that's not something that necessarily crosses the line. Oh, I'm wondering if it's not, I'm wondering if it's not so much the OnlyFans, but it's more specifically about the money. Like maybe he wouldn't care. Like I know it doesn't make sense
Yeah.
because obviously the point of doing that is to get the money, but that wasn't her point. Her point to do that initially was to do a dare, and why she continued doing it, that I don't know, and she doesn't
Because
say.
the money.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard
The
to say
money
no to
keeps
money.
bringing you back.
I mean, she clearly crossed some boundary,
Sure.
whether it was the money, whether it was the OnlyFans, whether
Yeah.
it was the crazy friend that kind of led her down that path. There's something that, she felt like not mentioning, but
I mean, and it could also make sense, like on a psychological point of view. When people get married when they're super young, in their 20s, statistically, it just finds a way to. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does.
yeah.
But for the sake of argument, let's just focus on how sometimes it just doesn't work out. There's a lot of experiences, important milestones that a human, especially, in American society goes through.
Yeah.
And when you're married and you're saddled up with kids at an early age, you are unable to experience those things as your peers are.
And you change so much in those decades.
Yeah, really
That's
do. Change a lot.
20-year-old, 30-year-old.
And it's almost
Yeah.
like you're in kind of like a bizarre arrested development, if you will. Yes, you're a mother. Okay, here you roar. I get you. But the thing is that there's other things too. It's kind of like how you hear people say, oh, well, the first time you ever drank, and you got wasted, you were like 18 or whatever. So that means that every single time that you get drunk, you're going to revert. I don't know how scientific this is. You're going to revert to being 18 years old.
Dr. Lawrence?
No, that does not happen. I had one glass of wine last night. That's it.
It's interesting how maybe she felt something that, hey, I'm a stay-at-home mom. There's a lot of things that I didn't get a chance to experience. I want to figure out a way where I could make my own. And then it just, took off into the stratosphere. With
And
this
there's
person.
so many things like that where, we've had this experience before with these stories. We kind of try to fill in the blanks along the way. But you brought something up that I thought was pretty interesting. I just recently read this. Number one cause of divorce in the United States. Any guesses? It's marriage.
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
Boo.
You're welcome. All right. I think. All right.
Where'd you find that?
It's science. It's science.
Science.
I think we discussed this out. I think we can kind of look towards a verdict now. What I'm going to ask you is the question that we started with. Am I guilty of betraying my husband by keeping my OnlyFans account a secret? Christina, I'm going to start with you. What do you think?
Sorry, girl, but I got to say you're guilty. I mean, it's not the biggest betrayal in the world, but I mean, why wouldn't she tell your husband? Why?
Okay.
I mean, even if it was just a joke between friends, like, oh, hey, babe, I made an OnlyFans with my feet, haha.
You're right. Yeah, something.
What's the big deal? So, I mean, it is a betrayal because she's withholding all this information and now she's got all this money. She's got to explain where all the money came from.
Okay, I'm tracking. So we got a guilty from Christina. Lawrence?
I'd have to say just, one, I'd have to say yes, of course. I feel that
Yes, of
transparency.
course, what?
That she's guilty.
Guilty. All right, you guys are both guilty.
Transparency. You got to be transparent.
Yeah, we agree, right? All right. Our jury is locked up. That's good. All right. Ready for the next one?
Ready.
Let's go.
Okay, number 2. Ooh, listen, wife.
Oh, dang.
I'm always listening.
He turned and looked at you right in the eye.
Yeah. Right in my eye.
I don't want you
Thank
to
you
get
for describing that for the listeners because they needed to know that.
I don't want you to get personal about this. All right? This is just a story somebody wrote in. Ready?
Okay. We'll see.
Am I guilty of being a bad husband for lying to my wife about what happened to our family dog?
I'm calling shenanigans already.
No, not the dog.
All right, here we
Dog
go.
probably joined the circus.
He's at the train station.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the train station. No.
We're like all about Yellowstone.
I love Yellowstone.
We're deep into Yellowstone. All right. I am a 43-year-old man that has been married to my 42-year-old wife for about 20 years. We have 3 children. One is an adult and out of the house. We have 2 children still at home. Both are in high school. About a year ago, my wife came home from a trip to Walmart with a car full of groceries and a puppy. There was no discussion about getting a dog or even a pet. She just brought a puppy home, and of course, as soon as our kids saw it, I knew I was doomed. This fucking dog has been a nightmare.
Are you sure you didn't write this? Because it sounded pretty familiar.
Just listen to how it ends. It was not me. To begin with, he wasn't even a puppy. When we took him to the vet, we were told our new, in quotations, puppy was at least 2 years old. He's destroyed 2 couches, refuses to stop peeing in the house, and has bitten all of us at least once. He also bit the Amazon delivery lady
Oh, damn.
and someone trying to sell us solar panels.
Oh, well,
that one
I
didn't
can-
bother
I
me
don't
too
mind
much. That's what he said. He said that one didn't bother me too much. My wife and I work at the same place and we work the same schedules, so we leave our home and return together daily. Every time we come home, we never quite know what hell awaits us. He has torn down blinds, ripped up carpet, and ate my wife's contact solution, which resulted in explosive diarrhea
Oh, my God.
that we came home to all over our house and
poop
furniture
costume.
one evening.
Oh, my
it's like-
God.
it's
This
a-
sounds terrible.
I have lost count of how many times I have gently brought up rehoming the monster that we named Bubbles.
Bubbles. You often hear monster and bubbles in the same sentence.
And for everyone wondering, he is a Chihuahua Terrier mix.
I had a feeling he was a Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He weighs about 9 pounds and he's 100% asshole. I'm not ashamed to admit that Bubbles has taught me all dogs will not actually go to heaven.
This guy's got jokes.
Every time I bring up finding him another place to live, my family collectively loses their minds. Well, last week, my wife and I came home to discover that Bubbles broke out of his kennel, which is our latest effort to try to reduce his terrorist behavior, and dug a hole through the center of our bed mattress.
What? How is a 9-pound dog doing all this?
He just started digging and didn't stop until he basically ruined our Tempur-Pedic bed. Oh, man. I couldn't take it anymore, but I didn't say anything. The next day, I stayed home sick from work. Once my family was all gone, I lured Bubbles into the kennel with some raw meat and locked the door behind him.
Bubbles is going to the train station.
I drove 2 counties away and I brought him to a no-kill shelter. I made absolutely certain that Bubbles would not be killed, and they promised me they have a very high success rate when it comes to finding homes for dogs. Well, needless to say, when my wife and kids got home, I was distraught. I told them that Bubbles got out the back gate and I tried to find him but couldn't. They seemed suspicious, but after driving around for several evenings and helping put missing dog flyers up in our neighborhood,
He's 2 counties over.
I think that they have bought my story. I feel terrible about lying, but I also feel like I did what I had to do. Am I guilty of being a bad husband for lying to my wife about what happened to our family dog? I just want to say... not all heroes wear capes.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes as a dad, you got to make the tough calls. Sometimes the dog joins the circus.
I feel it.
Sometimes they get rehomed. Sometimes they run
been
away.
traded to another team.
Yes.
Wow.
Call him with the details.
Right? Yeah.
Wish him best of luck.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
crazy.
All right. Let's open it up for discussion. My wife's looking. I wish you guys could see the way she's looking at me right now.
Because you don't know how many times he has threatened to have Tallulah run away or join the circus. Now, albeit Tallulah's much better now, but when we first got her,
She was a maniac.
She was a maniac, and she was bitey, and she liked to destroy things. She ate his watch. She ate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A watch?
yeah, like she didn't physically swallow it, but she just
this
tore
G-Shock
it apart.
right here. She literally ate the whole band. The only thing that I found was the bezel of the
my
watch
gosh.
and the metal clasp, and then she looked guilty as shit.
That had to hurt
right?
coming out. Oh my God.
No, she just likes to tear it apart. She won't swallow. So that's nice.
Yeah,
At least
she-
there wasn't a vet
okay, well,
bill
she
involved.
just swallow it, so
Yeah.
that's
What breed is she?
Cocker Spaniel.
Cocker Spaniel.
She just destroys stuff. So I got her from a friend, a dear friend.
how it starts.
And his wife. And he's like, we just retired, and she's a little hyper and kind of too much for us.
A little?
And then it sends me this video of her watching The Lion King or something, and just
Yeah,
being
they're all
sweet
sweet.
and
just being
calm,
adorable, right? And we get her, and she turns into a full-blown maniac. She's just, she's just bouncing off the walls.
like, this is what I
and-
really like.
Like the third day we had her, we literally had the window cracked, like not enough
Oh,
for you
yeah,
to think
in
that the
traffic.
dog, think that she could get out, and just one fell swoop jumped out the fucking window into traffic.
yeah, and we're driving.
Bad
I'm like
dog.
out of the car while the
Holy
car is still
smokes.
moving, trying to get her.
The
thing.
kids
my
are
God.
convinced they
She's
just saw
dead.
our dog die. They're in the back
Yeah, the
seat.
kids are
right?
screaming like,
Yeah.
Someone
yeah.
call the
Oh my
law.
God.
I stopped the car in traffic, and now we're hunting down
my
our dog.
God.
She ended up fine. She didn't even get a scratch.
Yes, but again, she is fine now. But it took, we're a year into it. It took a lot of working with her
lot
to
of
get
Caesar
her
Milan and all
right.
that.
Yeah.
Seriously, dude, 4th of July came around, and I was like, I'm just going to leave all the doors open. And when the fireworks start going off, we're gonna see what
If she
happens.
comes back, she's mad. If she's not,
Yeah,
there you go.
but much like this guy's family, everyone knew if Tallulah went quote unquote missing and Dad was anywhere around, it was absolutely
I was the number one suspect.
man.
So fast forward a couple years, Tallulah is fine. She's happy and relatively well adjusted, and we're doing okay.
Mostly well
so
behaved.
This Bubbles situation, though,
Bubbles
circling,
sounds like a demon. I'm
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
Bubbles. I think they even said this. Bubbles is a terrorist.
I don't
Yeah.
know how
Yeah.
Mom was still on board. Mom, I can only imagine being a mom that Mom just did not want to disappoint the
Oh
kids.
no, I'll tell you exactly what happened.
Oh, tell me,
Yeah, I'll tell
Father.
you exactly what happened. Yeah, I'll
me.
tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Mom's like, oh, Bubbles has already been abandoned, and we decided to bring Bubbles home.
I don't think I like your tone.
And the kids, the kids are really attached to Bubbles.
It's the
That's
kid
all
again.
that
Back
stuff.
to the kid. The kids
Yeah.
are attached to Bubbles.
Yeah.
and that's
as,
hard for
as
the mom.
Bubbles is biting them.
Yeah, that's like bringing a stranger into your house. You don't know what
Yeah,
Bubbles is
where
going to
Bubbles
do.
is-
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't know Bubbles. what
And
he's-
can I just point out, Bubbles was never a puppy.
Well, but she didn't know. She thought it was a puppy, which you have to admit with that
So,
smaller breeds, it's hard to know.
Bubbles
sometimes.
was kind of like the orphan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like a grown
like-
woman
You think it's
pretending
a
to be a little
child.
kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
But
I
it's
was gonna
adult
say.
terrorizing
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bubbles showed up smelling like cigarettes already.
Right?
Menthols.
I got a bad credit rating.
Yeah.
Done lost my car.
Bubbles definitely had a sub 600 credit score.
Yeah, my lord.
That's some shit repossessed.
I got
Bubbles
scars.
had 2 divorces under his
man.
belt already.
I got puppies out there. I don't even know what they
Yeah.
look like.
Yeah, because that sounds like some adult rage what he
Yeah.
was
Oh
doing.
man.
So I mean,
I feel sorry for the dad.
I
man.
do too.
Yeah.
I do
still.
too.
The
Yeah.
contact solution, explosive diarrhea all over the house.
honestly, I would
I
have
would have been
Bubbles
done after
disappear
that.
after
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I'd have been done after that.
I mean, I just think that once again, like transparency, she should have been transparent with her husband.
At
'Cause
what
it's-
point?
Well, the thing is, like, okay, if they were divorced, for example, and she
Yeah.
had a house, she could do whatever she wants.
Well, yeah, of course.
But she also has to respect her husband.
Well, you're
Just like
saying
her
when she
husband
got
has to
the dog
respect
to
her,
begin
too.
with?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
You
okay.
can't just bring something like that into a family.
Yeah.
It's almost.
No.
I'm not
And
comparing
show the
children to
kids
dogs.
first.
Sure.
She
Show
knew what
the
she was
kids
doing.
first.
She
Yeah.
knew what she
Yeah,
was
yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
But the thing is like as soon as the dog bit,
Yeah.
see
Gotta
you
go,
later.
yeah.
I just
Or
snapped
like
my
the
fingers.
10th time, and then bit the Amazon person.
Well, it's like biting the kids for me. Between that and the explosive diarrhea, I don't know how she, like I said, didn't
Destruction of
disappear the
property?
dog.
Destroying
Yeah,
2
I don't know
couches,
I don't know how she didn't get rid of the dog
pulling
first.
the blinds out of the
Honestly,
window.
she's
Yeah.
probably like,
It's cheaper
I
to-
don't care what happened. Thank the Lord, my prayers are answered.
I mean, what
Well,
about
you
what
brought
about a
this evil
program
in our house.
to
I don't
train the dog?
Well, and I think it's interesting you said transparency, because one thing I was thinking as soon as I got done reading that is she going to go back to Walmart and get another Bubbles? Because we haven't addressed that, right?
True, true.
Bubbles
yeah.
is
Yeah.
Bubbles. Everybody's sad. Bubbles gone. Pretty easy to find another jacked up dog.
It is.
feel that
Somebody's
void.
trying
See a
to
lot
pawn
of
off.
them with certain people at the Home Depot and or
Yeah.
the Walmart.
So, like when you mentioned transparency, one thing I thought is, okay, we didn't address the root of this, which is bringing a pet home, which is a huge commitment.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Bringing
Yes.
a pet home without discussing it to your other half and doing the whole, oh, look, kids, but listen, if dad says we
Right,
can't
yeah,
keep the
yeah,
puppy.
just-
Has
Yeah,
it been
so it'd make
dewormed?
Dad the bad
Yeah.
guy.
Has it,
Yeah.
What about its shots?
Yeah, has
You
it
know, like,
ate anybody yet? Does
Right?
it have the
Are
taste
we
of
gonna
blood
get
in its
worms?
mouth?
Yeah.
Are we gonna get worms?
So the question is, am I a bad husband because I lied to my wife about what happened to the family dog? Am I guilty of being a bad husband? You got any more points to make, or do we want to go into a verdict here?
Just the last point for me. I know I'm not giving the verdict, but
No, that's good though.
it's tough because I would like to say that like he shouldn't have lied. Really, I think yes, take the dog because obviously he needed to just make that decision for the family, but he should still tell the wife.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Like, just send a quick
by the
text,
way,
hey.
like, yeah, that way it's not like, oh,
Bubbles,
by
Bubbles
text.
gonna be gone. Like,
yeah.
By
And,
text.
P.S. What if Bubbles actually legit runs away from the other family and they're like, there's Bubbles running down the street and then he's just
Brilliant.
back.
No, then you just gotta play it off. You gotta be like, oh great, we found Bubbles.
Yeah, maybe he felt like it was a tit for tat because he said, "Hey, she brought this warmonger into our
Exactly.
home. I'm gonna go ahead and take him out.
Yeah,
Drive him. I'm gonna drive him through counties. No
yeah.
population. Nobody's gonna find
And
him.
it wasn't the train station.
yeah, no
You know what I-
jurisdiction.
you know what I'm
like,
picturing?
He hasn't
no
marked
man's
it. He
land.
won't find his way home.
Oh, you know what I'm picturing right now is like one rainy night, Bubbles shows up at the front door, like cigarette in his mouth.
It's like Pet Cemetery.
He's like, what's up?
Yeah, he's all, what's
I'm
up,
back, bud."
fuckers?
Guess who's back?
thought you could get rid of me.
Guess you guys should have moved.
You should bounce, cuz.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So there's all kinds of issues, right? But we don't gotta answer all the
That's
issues,
true.
right? There's
Yeah.
the issues of the wife making questionable decisions. Maybe not
I wouldn't
being-
trust her with an OnlyFans.
Whoa, what if it was the same person?
That's
They
funny.
got a messed
They've
up
got a
situation.
massive.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
so
They
Marriage
don't
is
communicate.
messy,
They don't communicate.
I see a pattern.
Babe, I promise you, I will be honest with you, no matter what the situation is.
Everybody
And
go to
I will
train
not bring
station.
Bubbles home.
Yeah, this
I will
shit's
not
going to
bring
be in your
Bubbles home.
vows.
It'll be in the vows. I
You'll
will not
see.
bring
You'll
Bubbles
see.
home.
That's funny, man.
Bubbles and the
That's
No
funny.
OnlyFans, no Bubbles, like for life.
That's funny as hell
Right?
because you
Everybody's
guys
like,
are
"What?"
you guys are engaged. I think that's hilarious. Like if we get to go to your wedding and we see that worked into the
bring the
vows,
bubbles.
Right? We're like, I don't know where that came from. Everybody else is going to be like, what? Yeah.
The father's going to be
And they're
like,
going to be laughing.
what the hell is going on with Bubbles and OnlyFans?
Damn
They-
it, Bobby.
I'll tell you what,
Bobby.
is Hank
It's
Hill
his
going
wedding
to
boy and his
officiate
day
your
ain't
wedding?
maybe.
I'll explain it to everybody. I'll be like, no, everybody, listen, it's episode 5, Mistrial by Fire. You
Check
gotta
it
tune
out.
in.
Yeah.
You'll understand what happened. All right. I think
it
we're
could be verdict now.
Yeah, I think we're at
Yeah.
the point. All right. This time we're going to start with Lawrence. Guilty or not guilty of being a bad husband because he lied to the wife about what happened to the dog?
I'll tell you this. I don't know if he's a bad husband, but a Don's got to do what a Don's got to do. I think he did the right thing and the right move. He's got to protect his
I agree with
His
all that.
pride.
Man. Sometimes you're guilty even
pride,
if you do
meaning
the right thing.
like
though.
a lion pride.
Like
Not his pride.
family pride.
A family pride.
yeah, yeah, his tribe, his people.
Sometimes you just got to lay down the
All
Mustafa.
right, so I'm asking you though. You got to make a call. Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Not guilty. All right.
interesting.
All right.
Okay.
Christina.
You know what, babe? I got to agree with you on this one. I mean,
Oh, you're agreeing again?
we're agreeing again.
Not guilty?
Whoa,
You're darn
mind
tootin'.
blown.
Stand by.
Yeah. Yo, Spear fingers.
Yeah, high fives, jazz hands, all that
Yes.
stuff. All right.
I mean, yeah, he did lie, but I mean, it was, I feel like it was a last minute decision. He's tearing up the house. He's being a terrorist.
Yeah.
And she started it. She brought home the demon dog.
Sometimes
He had
you
to
got to
finish
make
it.
the call, right?
He had to make the call. He had to finish it. So I'm
Oh, man.
What's wrong, Eric?
I hate to do this, but we need to add a cheesy commercial in here.
Damn, I hate commercials.
Me too. Let's do one.
All right.
Okay. What's this one about?
It's about us.
This is how you write in to us to get free stuff.
Well, shit, that's a good ass commercial.
Yeah, that's right. This is all about how our listeners can get free stuff. We can get content that's going to help deliver better shows.
Ooh, I like that. What kind of content?
We want you to send us a story. Once we get that, if we read it and we just go, holy shit, this is some fucked up stuff right here. We need to share this with the world. If you want to send it to us and you want it to be anonymous, you can totally do that. We don't need to use your names, but we would love to get some original content from our listeners. So email us. Kyoko, tell them where to email.
All right. You can email us at uncommonthreads@gmail.com. Now that's uncommon with a K, no C, and threads has a Z.
So complicated.
So complicated, but really it's not. Take out the C, take out the S, add a K and a Z. Uncommonthreads@gmail.com, or find us on social media, Uncommon Threads on Facebook and Insta. Same spelling.
Send us your content. Like I said, if we feature it, we will reach out to you to send you merchandise. And if you're cool with tagging us?
Yeah, you want to tag us in your awesome merch, then we got something else cool for you.
Yeah, we'll send you bonus merch. Awesome. Back to the show. Before we jump into the third one, I have learned that Lawrence does a spot on Hank Hill impersonation.
He does.
Look
Yes,
at
he
him.
does.
Look at him shaking his head no right now.
Lawrence is saying he doesn't.
6 a.m. and that boy ain't right.
That's so good.
Damn it, Dale. The man said.
All right, we're going to jump into the last one. Ready?
Ready.
Yep.
Am I guilty of being a bad employee for refusing to take my hat off?
I feel like I need more information.
Oh, this is a Teams call?
Well, more information.
Or just
you
turn your
have.
camera off.
And all staff?
So I work in marketing for a pretty new startup, and we were on the brink of closing a massive deal with a potential client, a deal that could have been a game changer for us. I had been working on this for months, and the final meeting was set. Now, here's the catch. For me, wearing my favorite hat has always been a way to express my personality, and it's never been an issue before. So when I had a crucial video meeting with a potential client, I didn't think twice about keeping it on. I figured it wouldn't be a big deal to wear it, especially since it was on a video call. But the moment I turned on my camera, everything changed. The client, who seemed pretty traditional, immediately honed in on my hat. They started making passive-aggressive comments about my attire, implying that it was unprofessional and disrespectful.
I didn't know that there was like dress code etiquette for Zoom calls. I mean, obviously
Yeah,
you need
we're learning
clothes,
stuff.
but
We're
yeah.
learning
There
stuff.
super is.
Okay.
I feel like
learning
there
stuff.
is.
Okay.
I tried to brush it off, but their attitude kept worsening throughout the meeting. It got to a point where they outright said they were reconsidering doing business with us because of my choice of headwear. I was torn. I didn't want to jeopardize a deal, but I also didn't think my hat should matter that much in a business discussion. In the end, tensions rose and the client abruptly ended the meeting, leaving us hanging. The co-founders were furious, saying I should have just taken the hat off to salvage the situation. But to me, it felt like sacrificing a part of myself just to please a client who might not respect our work ethic anyway.
Well, he's not William Wallace. I mean, give me
Hold on. There's a little more. Now there's tension in the office with some people saying I'm to blame for potentially losing the deal while others think the client's reaction was unfair. Edit. There's a couple people asking what hat it is. It's just a Navy baseball cap with my university logo on it. Am I guilty of being a bad employee for refusing to take my hat off?
Well, that's interesting. I'm glad they asked because I didn't even think about that. Yeah, like if it was a hat with like titties on it, that's obviously not appropriate. A hat with titties? Who
we
wears
just
a
went
hat
from
like
0
that?
to like 250. man.
I'm sure you're speaking for at least one weird listener out there that's like, was it a titty hat?
Yeah. Like, oh, the titty hat. That totally makes sense. Yeah, that's rude.
Is it one of those hats that has the little hands
The
that
hands
clap
that clap,
in
yeah.
the front of it?
Man.
Or maybe like a sombrero or I don't know, like a really big cowboy hat.
One of those dorky, like small tribbly hats.
Oh,
that
yeah.
a 500-pound dude goes,
Yeah.
hey.
Yeah.
Or like one with the
little
fan
spinner
or the
hat,
prop
yeah.
on top of it.
Yes.
No, it ends up as just a baseball hat with his college logo on it. I mean, I got a strong opinion here.
I do as well, I think.
Okay.
All right, let's hear it.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, where I'm at is this is your job. This is not a place where you get to express yourself. This is not a place where you're entitled to be your true self. This is you're getting paid. You have a mission. Your job, it sounds like, is to close this deal. You're there because you're somebody that has institutional knowledge of this. You've participated in whatever this project is for X amount of months. Take your fucking hat off.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
Close the deal.
The
Yeah,
mission.
for
right?
sure,
You
for
failed.
ABC.
Yeah.
ABC.
Always
somebody
be
to-
closing.
Always be closing, right? And if it means you got to take your hat off, I mean, I know I'm getting old and this like gets me worked up, but there's just so much, in our culture right now.
The entitlement.
Yeah. Look,
Entitlement is
yeah,
off
look at
the
me.
charts.
And that's the number one, probably the number one and number two ways that you start to sound too old for anything relevant is you're like, music now sucks and the kids are entitled. I know like
But music
Damn.
does suck
Damn, that makes
nowadays.
me old
and
then.
kids
My
are entitled.
Oh my God.
Remember when rappers had
I've crossed the
verses?
threshold.
like every
Trying to get a
generation, and they're like, I don't understand what these kids are wearing. That's like the other thing, right?
Well,
And-
I do understand because it's literally from my generation.
but so I just think if you're at work and it's your job to do this thing, what the hell does your hat have to do with this thing? And I could take it if you're wearing a necklace, if you want purple hair, if I get that there's freedom of speech and that's something I hold dear to my heart, but it's not your constitutional right to have a job. And when you're working somewhere, you got to fall in. Otherwise,
When in
get a
Rome.
job somewhere else, right?
One room.
Exactly.
I mean, and that's a huge thing that you touched on too, is that there is professionalism that should be expected in a workplace.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you have to be all, squared away, high and tight, looking on point.
And we're in a
As you can
three-piece
tell, I have a
suit.
Yeah,
bias towards
right,
that.
right,
because to
right.
me, that exudes professionalism.
Yeah.
That you care about your appearance enough to, and people pick up on these things.
They do.
If you're just rocking out with your, what's up, bro? Like this.
But also,
This is my hat.
But some
It just
jobs
seems like you don't take
that's-
them seriously.
Some jobs, that's their brand, though, right? Is there something to be said with like understanding the culture of where you work and rising to that expectation, right? Or meeting that
Yeah,
expectation.
and you
But
need to
you're-
understand the client as well. It's
Exactly.
like you should be catering to
Exactly.
the client. That's your whole job. That's your mission.
Well, that's your mission, right?
Your office
So-
culture might not be aligned with a client.
Yeah.
If a client is coming to you for something,
Right.
then you need to augment yourself to that client.
Yep.
Just get your Don Draper on, do
Yeah.
stuff.
I think all of that is so apparent. And I think this question is too, right? I mean, it really sounds like this guy's ready to die on the hill of how dare they ask me to take my baseball hat off.
Yeah.
during a meeting.
It's like, bro, it's so trivial. Like, come on, just take your hat off for 5 minutes. It's not a big deal.
What if he had a weirdly misshapen head and he was super embarrassed? I know I didn't say that. We're playing the if game, but does that make a difference?
Nope.
No.
I don't think so.
Nope.
Because I'll tell you this.
Tell us,
I'm
Hank.
not super old. I'm not 74. I'm 68. But I'll tell you this.
You don't look a day over 75.
I appreciate that.
Got the soul of a 68-year-old man.
Because I am. But the thing is, that's what makes it bigger for our society now. People want to do what they want to do. They don't want to play with the team. They want to be special. Not everybody's special.
True.
Right.
Everybody's special to their mom. But that's it. You're not special to me, honey.
Right.
So you need to tone it down.
Right.
It's not about you.
Fall
it's
in.
about the greater good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a
you gotta
bigger
fall
picture.
in and toe the line.
Yeah.
If you can't do this, and this is my special hat. These are my special unders. It's like, all right, cool. But you know what? You're not on the 50-yard line. You know what I'm talking
Right.
about? This ain't this. You
Right.
need to go ahead and you need to augment your behavior.
Right.
And to be quite frank, what if his client, there was rivals of that school or
Or
had
anything
something
else.
going
Yeah,
on
he
at
thought,
that
you know,
school?
they were mocking him by
Yeah,
wearing
they
that
were.
hat.
I didn't go to Cal Berkeley, but I
Yeah.
have family that did, and
Yeah.
I don't like Stanford.
Well,
I don't know why. I just don't.
and
I
I
grew
think,
up with that hate, and it lives in my heart.
I think that's a really good point. And I also think that, like I got raised by my grandparents, right? So I got raised from a couple people that were a generation behind my friends, typically my peers. And, there were some things that came with that. I grew up in a country home and my grandparents raised me. So one of the things I grew up with was take your hat off when you come inside.
Absolutely.
Right? Take your hat off when you come inside. If you're going to shake hands with somebody, you stand up, open the door for anybody. If you have the opportunity to open the door, if you see somebody working, help them. It doesn't matter where you are, where they are, what they're doing, right? These are all like tenets that you kind of come up with. So for me to hear that somebody wants to die on the hill of don't take my baseball hat off. I like all the points you're making. You got to know your audience. You guys are both saying that, you got to understand the signals that you're sending. But I think it even goes further down to like a deeper basic level of we have lost sight of some social etiquette.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Like if I would have sat down at a dinner table with my hat on, right, I would still physically feel that from one of my grandparents. So I tend to lean this other way. I also have always been part of organizations that are highly structured. I'll say just, chain of command. The mission is very clear. The expectations are very clear. There's policy to support everything. Even so, you lean towards the side of getting the job done. And the job is bigger than you as an individual, right?
Exactly.
So
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, I just, stuff like this always cracks me up because I picture, I don't even know if I should say this. We might cut it out later, but
Speak on it. Speak on it. I think I feel
But
you.
I picture this guy like wearing skinny jeans.
Yup.
He's vaping.
Yup.
Like,
Yup.
He's like a tech bro.
yeah, like,
So I got my 700 square foot house for like 3.5 million. Bro.
exactly.
I'm doing good.
Yeah, and if I can't express myself and be my true self, then they don't deserve me.
Eric, as much as I love disagreeing with you, I have to agree with you on all these points. 'Cause it's like one of the many pains of my existence is dealing with people who just won't get along. Like, this is for the betterment of the company that you're working for.
Yeah, if they're successful, you're successful.
Exactly. Everybody wins, but you're being a dick.
Over your hat.
That's what I'm saying.
Over your
I mean,
hat.
being a hat dick, yeah.
It could be hats. It could be dishes in the sink. It could
Don't
be
get me
whatever.
started. Yeah, dishes in the sink.
Let's
Oh
not
my
get
God.
started on
Don't
that.
get me started.
But the thing is, and it has nothing to do with me and Christina leaving dishes in the sink.
And I'm assuming
Right.
this is like, do you guys watch
Felt
the show The
personal.
Office? This is giving me vibes of when Pam put the note on the microwave for
Oh,
people.
passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Well, like I work in a place right now where if we're doing our work inside of the building, we can look a certain way. But if we're going to represent ourselves outside of the building, we're expected to look more polished. And I think that we're transitioning globally in the way we do business to where if you're in a virtual meeting, then you're outside, right? If you're in a virtual meeting, you're outside of your building. So how are you presenting yourself to the outside world? Even though you're sitting in your workspace, you turn that camera on and you're doing Zoom or Teams or Google or whatever. Now you're like sitting at their place of business across the table from
You're
them.
meeting with clients.
And
outside
how
of
are
your
you
organization.
representing yourself? And I think there's room to say, look, if I'm talking to somebody about buying baseball equipment for my team and they're wearing a ball cap, that's good to go.
appropriate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That's
appropriate.
normal.
Yeah.
If I'm somewhere where the culture is we're going to look professional when we're contacting clients or potential clients,
Sure.
then you take the damn hat off.
Right.
And it's
Absolutely.
obvious.
I mean, even when I go into, for example, if I go to Texas Roadhouse, I take my hat off
Yeah.
when I'm eating. It's weird. I can't. I just.
Yeah.
And then when I see,
And when you look around,
yeah, and then when I
All the
see,
hats.
dude. So
what about when somebody doesn't take their hat off when the national anthem's playing?
Oh,
How much do you want to
gonna-
talk
I'm
to that
gonna-
person?
I'm gonna go ahead and sit that one out. I'm just gonna sit that one
There
out.
is rage, though, ladies and gentlemen.
Like they're all soup sandwich
hands
about
on
it.
the
Like they're
table.
standing up, they're being quiet, but their hat's still on. I can tell you there was a
It's
point
just
not
so
that long ago.
disrespectful, man.
And not present,
So
right?
disrespectful.
Like be here. It wasn't that long ago. I had to make decisions to hire people, and I was interviewing somebody for a job, and I remember I walked into the room after they got there, and they didn't stand up to greet me, and I thought, okay,
Yeah.
all right, they're
You're like,
kind of
No, that's a no go. That's a
they're kind of
no
young,
go.
right?
Minus
They're kind of. I don't want to be like. I don't want to be
A
called.
boomer?
Yeah, I don't want to be called
Boomer,
boomer.
yeah.
Right? So I'm kind of.
I'm a millennial. I agree with you. I stand up. I shake your hand.
Yeah.
Nice
Well,
to meet
so
you,
then
sir.
that was
Looking
the
My name
next.
is Christina. Nice
So
to
that
meet
was
you.
the next step, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, he didn't. All right. So I'm going to walk over to him. Now I'm standing there and I'm like, hey, how are you? And I put my hand out to shake hands.
Oh, and he's like,
They don't even stand up and they just kind of, they do the dead
what?
fish
Oh,
handshake.
no, no
What?
dead fish.
Dead fish
Oh,
handshake,
no.
right?
Oh,
And I can
no.
tell you
Can't
this,
do it.
for the next 45 minutes, I interviewed that individual and
Knowing.
nothing
yeah,
mattered.
you're like,
Yeah.
no,
They-
it's over.
They could have told me they cured cancer. They could have told, like, nothing mattered.
Yeah, you
I
can
was
almost
like,
feel the
yeah,
handshake.
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah,
getting
gross.
hired. They did
That's the
not get
thing.
hired
You know,
that day.
these simple things are social cues. Our society, you don't have to be young, you don't have to be old or a boomer. And I hate that term because it's so, to me, it's so pejorative. But the thing is,
That's a really good word. Jeez,
He
good
uses it all
job.
the time.
Does he?
Yes.
no, I don't. I don't use it all the time.
How do you
at
work
all.
that into all these conversations?
The thing is, we could just look back, and I don't mean to sound like a curmudgeon either, but the thing is,
Whoa,
you
hold
could
on.
just sit there.
Wait, stop. Curmudgeon? Are you like reading word power somewhere?
Word
like,
power.
You know,
just
we watched Reading Rainbow growing up.
you are throwing out
Hey,
some
I grew up on.
bangers
I
here.
grew up on Babar.
Yeah.
Oh,
books.
Babar.
I mean, I just don't want to. I don't want to like glance over
I
this.
learned
You're-
how to read when I was in 5th grade, bro.
You're throwing out some strong
No child left
vocabulary.
behind.
I already forgot the one before curmudgeon. I don't. What'd you say before?
Pejorative.
Pejorative.
Pejorative curmudgeon. Holy smokes!
Well, I mean, I'm
All
not.
right,
but-
sorry.
So
Go ahead.
The thing is that's the slippery slope, and not to be too serious on the thing, but a president once said, "Ask not
Oh, okay.
what your country can do for you.
Yeah.
Ask what you could do for your country." And you can take that into so many things. If you've ever been on a sports team, if you've been a part of an organization, it's not what they can do for you, High Speed. It's what you
Yeah.
can do for them. How can you contribute to the greater good?
Right.
Left
Yeah.
something better than
It's
how
bigger
you
than you.
found it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And
Yes.
these people today, these kids or these people that have just been under a rock, or even under their cell phone
Yeah.
with social
Yeah,
media,
yeah.
etc., they have forgotten how to put others above themselves.
Right, right.
People are way more. I mean, hey man, do your thing. If you have a favorite food, great.
Yeah.
Everybody's their own individual for sure. But the thing is, we stopped being collective.
Right.
That's a problem. So when somebody doesn't show deference, especially if they're interviewing for a job,
Yeah.
if you're that individual who's the shot caller and you're trying to recruit who's going to be on your team,
Yeah.
hey, let me tell you something, bud. You better stand up. You better put your firm handshake out there and let them know.
Make some eye contact.
Hello, sir. Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, it's all good. I mean, nobody just, and then the weird,
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can't.
no. I would have been done after that. I'd be like,
creepy
no.
handshake.
Yeah.
That tells a lot.
All right, hold on.
Oh, they're practicing their handshake.
Oh,
they had good
no.
eye contact.
wait, Lawrence didn't like
coming,
that.
Oh,
Oh,
coming
no.
in for the weak handshake. Oh,
It's
that's
literally,
awkward.
I didn't
it
like
makes
it.
me feel creepy.
So
you
awkward.
create is
I
creepy.
can't.
Yeah.
I didn't
But-
like it.
Take my strong
But the
hand.
first
That's
one
what
wasn't
it is.
bad.
Yeah,
But my style is,
exactly.
I like to go semi-firm because I don't want to be like, "What's up, bro?"
Yeah, crushing
like that,
yeah.
and be like, "What's your problem?"
Just
bro?
like a gentle
You know what I'm talking
firmness.
Absolutely, because it's assertive and it's also a sign of respect.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, I acknowledge that you're here right now.
Yeah, thank you for
Sharing
taking
this
the
space
time.
with me, taking the time out of your day to speak with me. Just like with these people, when you're trying to have a serious conversation with them and they're doing everything else in the room except giving you their undivided attention, it's so rude.
Oh, I hate it.
It's
I
so
hate
rude.
it.
Extremely rude.
Yeah.
I mean, these pandemic people, that's what I call them, pandemic drivers,
these
pandemic
pandemic
people.
kids are
It's
different.
like everybody forgot
What's
how to
going
be
on?
civilized.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm the old man. Like, what is wrong with you?
There are more of us than you realize, and the same
Yeah.
thing. And it's not.
God, I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, there are more than you realize. And circling back to this story, not only should this guy have taken his hat off, he should have apologized. Sir,
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disrespect you.
Yeah.
I didn't
Absolutely.
realize, this was going to be a
Exactly.
problem. Hat off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
crazy.
back to what Lawrence was saying. We've forgotten our sense of community or society. I know for certain you go back in time a couple generations and people felt the weight around them. They felt other people struggle.
Right.
They felt like they need to participate. Like you hear these stories. Oh, somebody in the neighborhood, the storm came through and it destroyed somebody's roof. So, everybody gets together.
There was more empathy and
Pitch in, help your
consideration.
neighbor. Help your neighbor.
Now
Yeah.
we don't
Help your
even
neighbor.
know
Now it's like,
neighbors' names
because
it's all about us.
The
Exactly.
thing is, previous generations to us went through stuff collectively. My generation, the millennials, we went through, we're going through a bunch of stuff collectively at the moment. Right now, it's, why not just make the 30-year mortgage rate 15%?
Right.
Why not just put
You
the
don't need to
nail in our
afford a
coffin
home.
right there?
Yeah.
Just get a tent. These generations that our grandparents, or it could have even been our grandparents or great grandparents that went through this, they went through the Depression.
Yeah.
They went through the war and then a series of other unfortunate events that taught them that you need to put others before yourself and you accomplish more by working together cohesively as a team to accomplish whatever the mission's going to be.
Well, you can't make it on your own.
You
that's
can't make it on
that's
your
what
own.
you hear.
Is anybody
people-
really self-made? Because you hear all these people, I'm a self-made man. I'm a self-made woman because look at my faces with the tomatoes. and
Look
the-
at my feet.
all these faces going on with the lotions and the skins, and it's just crazy. But it's like, is everybody there? Then the answer is no.
Nobody's self.
When I got to college after a little break, not going to school,
Finding yourself.
Finding yourself.
we all banded together
Yeah.
and formed study groups and had discussions. If somebody was confused about a concept, we'd take our time. We got through it together. All these influencers, quote unquote, I'm using air quotes, I feel like they're warping reality.
Oh,
Yeah, they are.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And
Completely
they're
warping
100%.
reality.
Yeah.
I mean, what is happening? It's almost like a funhouse with those bizarro mirrors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
That's the world and
Well-
society in which we live. I know that's a pessimistic way of looking at things, and I don't mean to be that guy, but it just feels disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing that really bothered me about this incident is even after the clients express, their dislike of his hat and, we're being passive
And he
aggressive,
noticed
whatever.
it.
And he noticed,
Yeah.
and he still, he said, he dismissed it. He said, no, I'm still going to wear my hat. Somebody is saying that they're uncomfortable with something, it's unprofessional, and you just, no, I'm going to do what I want.
That's
it's like
what's
really,
on that.
crazy to me.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Just insane
But we
to me.
know people like that.
I know.
We know a lot of
I
people like that.
But it
And-
still shocks me
Yeah,
every
every
time.
time, yeah.
Every single time. I'm like,
It
man,
does me
just
too.
adjust a little bit.
Yeah, it's like,
You
come
know?
on.
And it's
people
good
just-
that it does shock you, though, because we should not expect people to be that way. We should expect that they're better, and they should be better.
They should be
like,
better.
I don't remember what movie it was. I loved the quote, but it was like, "Don't be sorry, be better," and
Yeah.
that's what I feel like.
I
for
like
this.
that. I like
Yeah.
that.
You embarrass
For sure,
me.
because-
You embarrass yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody makes mistakes, but it's how we bounce back from that, right? Everybody gets
Yeah.
thrown down to the ground. Are you going to be putty that stays
Yeah.
there? Or are you going to be like rubber that bounces right back
And
up?
that's never the issue with me. I would rather take counsel or get advice from somebody that has lived that life where they've made lots of mistakes and they've
Exactly.
recovered
Absolutely.
and
Exactly.
they came back, right? Those are the people that have made it through this life without very much challenge. They don't have a lot of wisdom that comes with that.
Yeah, life experience
I,
isn't there.
I
Yeah.
love
Exactly.
mistakes. I love mistakes, but this idea that my simple impulses are more important than the greater good, the idea that we should suffer the masses for the few.
Exactly.
It seems like it's so just overwhelming.
That's
you know?
how it is.
that
That's
just
how it is.
really
these
bothered
days.
me.
Even
We sound,
in family life.
We sound like a bunch of retired people, like,
know.
like at the 5:30
It's like, I'm not
breakfast at the
retired.
local
I know.
diner.
I'm like,
you
I
know?
feel so old now.
want to say,
Consider it.
I just want to say, diabetes. But
All right.
But that's the truth, though. You know, just to simplify it, it's just, you're right. People are willing to die, so to speak, on these hills that they think are worth fighting for.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is a complete separation, because it is a massive impasse. Dialogue can't be had. Discussions aren't had. Conversations aren't had. So people are sticking within their own echo chambers, so to speak, even in their own minds. Hey, you know what? Aaron said something to me that was, I didn't care for, but I'm just going to let them do it because I don't want to inconvenience them with my feelings. Go ahead and speak on that. Maybe
Yeah.
they need to know.
Yeah.
Okay. And they need to augment their behavior, but everybody's too afraid of offending everybody. Everybody's too afraid
Yeah.
of being canceled.
Right, being
Everybody's
canceled.
too
Yeah.
afraid of everything, when, to be quite frank, you got to be honest.
well,
You
yeah.
got to
yeah,
tell
you-
people what's
sometimes you
going
got to
on.
have that
You have to
confrontation.
have
Exactly.
that
When you call
conversation.
those people out and then telling me I did something wrong. Oh,
Yeah.
no. And then they're passive aggressive towards you. And it's like, no, I'm just trying to tell you your behavior is incorrect. Fix it.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
like you get to have boundaries and stuff too.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm going to go further down I'm an old guy now complaining about the way the
Rabbit
world
hole.
is. But here's my theory on why I think people struggle over what was just simple conflict. Like, I think about 20 or 30 years ago, if I was on the job and my boss told me, hey, you're going to do this thing now, like I just start doing that thing, right? But now everything is such a conflict. And I think that's because we create, just by living now, we create our own sort of algorithm. We surround ourselves with like-minded people in social media. We only watch the news that we believe. Like, remember when we were young, there was just one guy giving the news out, right?
everybody.
Walter
Yeah.
Cronkite.
Right. Yeah. It was just one, or
how
usually
old I
it was like a man and a woman.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
You know,
Barbara Waters.
and they were giving out the news. And the next day, when you talked about current events to somebody, you all heard the same story, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now what happens is we only listen to the news that we believe. We unlike or unfollow or block anybody that has an opposing perspective than ours. We only watch, like, I come home and my TV tells me what shows I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And it's usually right.
Yeah.
Like, it's usually right. And so
Sure.
I'm watching those shows. So now what happens, and I'm only speaking very generally,
Sure.
people that are growing up in this environment, right, where they don't remember the way it was like before the internet and things like that.
Yeah.
They're growing up in this environment where they're sort of tailoring their own bubble around themselves. And when they get confronted with an alternative perspective, it is so shocking because everything in their life agrees with their beliefs. If I want to die on this hill that says I should never take my ball cap off, I can probably get on social media and find a group with thousands of followers
They have
That'll
like
agree with
20,000
them. They will-
followers.
they will
that
agree
believe
with
in the
them.
same thing,
Yeah.
right? So when
That's why
somebody
they're all sitting at home.
right, so when somebody confronts me with something else different, I lack the general coping skills to navigate that discussion. Not that long ago, you could sit down with somebody that has a different lifestyle and maybe navigate your way through that
Sure,
discussion.
sure.
And it seems like now it's just such a
Tribal.
it's such a divide. There's this huge gap between what I believe and you believe. Everything is this sort of polarized perspective.
Points of contention.
Yeah.
And then it goes further,
It's
right?
like gang banging values.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what up, blood? You don't agree with what I believe? Like,
Different
hey, I'm gonna
gang
show
bang.
up.
Okay.
What is happening? What is
didn't see his
happening right
face?
now?
That was an interesting
Yeah, I was
analogy.
thinking, like, what are you talking about?
I
Like,
was not tracking at all.
That's going to be the new little intro clip.
All right, listen. We're gonna bring this back full circle. It's time for a verdict. I think we did Lawrence first last time. So we're gonna start with Christina.
All right.
Am I guilty of being a bad employee for refusing to take my hat off?
You are so freaking guilty.
Yes.
Like, what the heck, dude?
All
Like,
the
come
guilty.
on.
Yeah,
we'll find no quarter here.
yeah. You're getting your head cut off.
I mean,
You're
you
so
screwed
guilty.
up the whole deal. You pissed off your clients. I mean, come on, dude.
You
Like,
look like a
Yeah.
little child.
really,
All right.
it's for over something
Lawrence?
so trivial.
Lawrence, where you at?
I'm with my ride or die. on this,
Okay,
man.
all
I
right.
mean,
You guys are
guilty.
3 for 3.
I know,
Guilty.
sorry.
Yeah, guilty.
3 for 3. Man, I like it.
Oh, the drunk guy's back. Did you hear him in the background?
Well, that's it, man. That's a
Cheers.
show. You guys were awesome.
Yes, thank you so much for joining
Yeah, thanks
us.
for having us. It was
Thank
super
you for
fun.
having us.
Awesome.
We do
Yeah.
appreciate
We're
it.
going to get you back again.
Hell yeah.
I hope
All
so.
right.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do
Awesome.
it.
Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap. You've been listening to Mistrial by Fire by Uncommon Threads. If you enjoy the show, please remember to like, subscribe, and share so we can get our fantastic content out to everyone in the world.
Also, if you're interested in providing content to the show, please reach out and you can shoot us an email at uncommonthreads@gmail.com. That's uncommon with a K instead of a C, threads with a Z instead of an S. uncommonthreads@gmail.com. If you send us some content and we use it, then we are going to reach out to you and try to send you some free merch. And if you'd like to take our relationship to the next level and tag us on your social media, we will send you bonus swag. Again, thanks for listening. We enjoy that very much, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned.